I know the pieces fit. This is the Outside Gate with Steve Hall on the L4 Media Network, where we talk US Moto and anywhere the conversation goes. And back on the show today, it's Darkside. How are you?
Doing good, man. Glad to be back. Thanks for the invite.
No worries, man. You're the third repeat guest on the show. So yeah, the third repeat guest. You were one of the same as DB and Callan who have been back on the show as well. You were one of the guys who was good enough to give me your time when the show was very, very new. So always grateful for that.
You helped me out a ton back in the wrap-up days and all that. So not a problem, man. It's always good to talk some moto.
That's it, man. Yeah. And that's me helping you out with the wrap-up stuff, man. That was exciting for me back in the day, man. Like I was, it was one of the things when I first started doing Instagram things and helping Moto Limited and helping you and all that sort of thing. It was exciting just to be a little bit involved in the sport. I'm sure you know that feeling as well from when you, when you first were calling up Pulp and Steve remembered who you are. You would have had that same excitement, yeah? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I still have it now. What are you talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just exciting.
Yeah, that's it. And speaking of Motor Limited, so did you see our boy Trent was on TV for the first time on the weekend?
I didn't get to see it. I can't find the replay anywhere. I missed it live, but I did see on his Instagram that he posted about it. So congrats to him, man. That's awesome. He's been working hard at it for a number of years.
He has been, man. Yeah, those his mates know that's the dream, So he was a little bit like, oh, I could have been better and all that, but man, I thought he did great. He's a natural. Like, you put that guy behind a microphone with a crowd, man, and he is just that's like his default position in life. He is just at home, man. So I've seen him doing it live and that sort of thing. He's more comfortable doing that than any time in his life, I reckon. It's just it's for him. So I'm so glad that very hard to get a go at TV in Australia.
Yeah.
He came off the bench. Lee Hogan was crook, and bang, there you go. Now he's got an in, and he did a good job. So yeah, very happy for
Good for him, man. Yeah, very, very proud of him.
Yeah, man, I am too. Yeah, absolutely. Dude, you're going to a concert tomorrow night. What's the concert? Who are you going to see?
Well, anybody that knows me knows I'm a hard rock metal guy, but Lyle Lovett is a Grammy Award-winning country star. He's from Houston, and he is a big motocross guy. He's been riding his whole life, races vintage bikes, and I reached out through Instagram and asked if I could do an interview with him because he's playing a show in my hometown at a place called the Belcher Center. And he said he didn't know if he'd have time to do the interview, but he offered me tickets. He said he'd definitely have time to say hi. So yeah, my girlfriend and I are going to go check it out. He's, kind of classic country, folk, jazz. He's got this huge band. They play I think when he does the tour with what he calls the big band, it's like horns and all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, cool. I didn't know who Lyle Lovett was, but I remember DB spoke about him. I think maybe he went to a Supercross to look and he met DB or something like that happened. And DB was talking about what a cool dude he was. Now this is on one of DB's shows maybe 2 years ago. So and then I sort of realized who he was. Who's he married to? He's married to a singer as well, isn't he?
He was married to Julia Roberts. That was a big one.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know who he is married to now, if he's even married. I don't know. But Julia Roberts was a big one where he was in the news a lot. Obviously, that was a big couple back, 10 years ago, whatever it was. But yeah, I met him at a huge vintage race we have near where I live called Diamond Dawns. I met him 5 years ago, probably. He was out there for that race and just said hi to him. But yeah, I'm excited, man. It's going to be cool to go see something that I'm not used to seeing. And the band he has is just an amazing musician. So it's going to be a good show no matter what.
Yeah, cool, man. I like it because everyone that follows you, I watch all your shows and listen to all your shows and that you're not a country guy. So it'd be interesting to see what you say next week on Moto X, man. It'd be interesting to say what your feedback is on it because Yeah.
I've listened to some of his stuff, and like it's old school country, which I can listen to. I mean, the music is really good, and it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be cool. And then like Sunday, I'm going to see Korn. I'm taking my daughter to see Korn, so that'll get me back where I need to be.
Yeah, man. Korn. Whereabouts are you going to see Korn?
Houston.
Yeah. There's almost 100% chance you'll see Scuba Steve there. Then he's
yeah, maybe. I think we're going to get to meet the band because I got to meet Ray Luzier. He's the current drummer. He's been in the band for like 13 years. But he was at Nashville Supercross, and one of my buddies knows him, and we got introduced. And he said, "Hey man, if we come to Texas, just reach out. I'll get you hooked up with tickets." And he did. He hooked me up. So yeah, we're going to go down there and check that out, and possible meet and greet after the show. We don't know for sure yet, but that'd be rad to meet the guys in Korn.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know. I remember, I always, pretty much every show, I ask people about their music taste. And that, like, I love music, man. My music knowledge isn't great because I get so locked into what I like. But I love talking. I love just hearing what other people like. And yeah, when I had Scuba Steve on, he was telling me like Korn's like the greatest band in the world. So he's a big Korn fan, which I had no idea, but apparently, he loves it. So.
Yeah, they're one of my favorite bands. They're definitely not my favorite band, but I listened to them since day one. I've seen them 4 or 5 times in their early days of that band when they first got big. Anyway, not really the early days of their career, but once everybody knew who they were. So it's gonna be really cool to see those guys at the current state and take my stepdaughter. That's the big thing. Is my 13-year-old stepdaughter is so into like 90s and current metal. She loves Rage, Korn, Limp Bizkit, Audioslave, Nirvana. So I got to take her to see Slipknot a few weeks ago, and then I'm taking her to see Korn. And that's the coolest thing is getting that my kids and my older daughter, who's 26, loves the same music. I think she's going to miss the show, unfortunately, but it's just so cool to experience that with my kids because my parents weren't into music, and I didn't really get to go to concerts. My mom was really uptight. I didn't get to experience that until I was an adult. So to be able to take my kids to concerts, and thankfully because of the position I'm in, sometimes I get to meet these people and introduce them to these famous people. That's the best part, man, is sharing it with the family.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, I can't wait to go to a concert with my daughter. She's been to a few concerts herself, and she goes with her friends. Now she's 17 now, and like she just bought tickets tickets for Oasis.
Cool.
She's which was they were hard to get apparently, but she got them and that sort of thing. And but yeah, I'm sort of definitely I'm hoping AC/DC makes it. They're all old buggers now, so
yeah,
they're going around again. I just make it back to Melbourne one more time so I can take my daughter to that and that's
heck yeah.
She likes all my music, man. Like she collects vinyl records and she's like into everything. She's right into it. So I've done well there. I've got a music taste down and my son as well. So yeah.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah, I told my daughter we were scheduled to go to the Slipknot show, and I told her bad news. She's like, "What?" I said, it was like a week out. And I said, we didn't get the Slipknot show tickets. Something happened. I said, but they were nice enough. They're going to give you Taylor Swift tickets. And she just said, no. All right, good job. Yeah, no to Taylor.
My daughter would go. It's funny. My daughter would still go to Taylor Swift. She likes all the old stuff, but she's still a sucker for some of the new stuff as well.
Yeah, so, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Everyone has their things, man. Like,
sure. Hell, I'd go see Taylor just to see her. Why not? That's it'd be a hell of an experience, I bet.
Yeah. I don't really hate Taylor Swift apart from I wouldn't go to my way to listen to it. I don't hate it apart from her football allegiance now because I'm a Broncos fan and I hate the Chiefs, man. Like, so.
Well, hey, I'm a Niners fan, so I should hate the Chiefs considering those 2 Super Bowls. But I don't. The only team I hate is the Cowboys. Yeah. Sorry, DB. Sorry, DB.
Of course, man. That goes without saying when you're a Niners fan. Even Aussies know that. That's one of the maybe the biggest sports rivalry in the world. Like maybe
it's up there.
Cool, man. Cool. Hey, so it's kind of the off season. That's not really an off season, man. So are you a little busier or a little less busy now? Like, how's that changed for you since the US racing's done?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's been a little less busy. I'm struggling to kind of come up with good ideas for stories. And when I was reaching out to riders for the show that we did last night, the Moto X-Pod show, and these guys aren't wanting to talk. They're like, hey, man, I talked to riders that were on vacation in Tennessee. A couple were in Hawaii. A couple are laying low. So it's hard to get interviews right now, seems like, and just story ideas that haven't already been done or that aren't just kind of burnout stories. So I'm a little bit slower right now. I think we're going to have some events coming up, though, in the next couple of weeks where I'm going to race Ironman GNCC and I'm going to race Bet Worlds. So I'll be able to do some stories on that kind of stuff. But it's been a little bit slower the last week and a half or so.
Yeah. It's I know. I certainly know. I mean, it's the scale of my show compared to yours is like it's not even in the same planet. But you get current riders is the hard one, man. Current riders, because these guys are just so busy, or even current anyone from a current team, is just so hard to get. Retired guys, they love to talk, man. Like it's easy to get retired guys on your show. Like I've had a heap of my heroes on the show, retired guys is great. And I mean, I love that. I'm a big vintage guy, and young up and coming guys, they love to get a chance to talk to anyone, but the current riders, man, that's a tough one. I've only had a couple of them. So that's something I'm working on, but it is, they're so busy, man. And then you even think, you think sometimes on the week off and you think, maybe I should try and get this person, but then you think, it's their week off. They're probably even less likely to talk, or like it's a hard thing, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to find that line has been difficult. I just send the text out and tell them, hey, I understand if you don't want to do it. And they usually respond. Like I tried to get AP on for last night because we haven't talked to him since MXDN, and he's, man, I'm in the Tennessee mountains on vacation with the family. I'm so sorry. I was like, you don't have to be sorry. You have never said no. You always say yes. Enjoy your time off. No big deal, man. But those guys are pretty cool. But I think I reached out to Levi Kitchen, and he's on vacation in Hawaii. And just a couple others wanted to stay low. So you just have to respect it and understand it. Yeah, it's just going to be. But I've been doing having a lot of the GNCC off-road guys on because those guys don't get much exposure. And they're generally happy to do it, and they have some really cool stories. So at least I'm going that direction a little bit more off-road.
Yeah, well, as a fan of your show, I like that, man, because I love off-road probably as much as I love moto. But off-road, it's just you don't get to watch much. You don't get to. You don't know as much about it, even if you do love it, But I grew up where there's no motocross tracks. There's no motocross scene, man. So, so trail riding was life, and we'd make some really sort of crappy tracks and use levee banks and dumps and berms, and just we would try and do a bit of moto. But so off road was a big thing, and I had mates that raced off road, and then I got into racing off road and that sort of thing, and motocross was sort of secondary as a sport to do, but primary as the one you wanted to watch. So I do love both. So I like it when you get these guys on the show. It's really cool, man. Yeah, and it's a great scene, man. It's a different. I know I've heard you say it, and it's the same in Australia. It's a different vibe. The vibe at an off-road event is so cool, man. Like it
really is. It really is. It's I mean, motocross is family oriented, but it's totally different. It's like if motocross family orientation or whatever is like 80%. You go fully to 100 on off-road. It's so neat to be out there and see all those people enjoying their time as a family and camping and almost everybody riding. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I used to. I was involved with the big, one of the bigger clubs in Victoria, or probably one of the bigger clubs in Australia of off-road racing, and I was on the committee, and I used to build tracks and run events and all this sort of crazy stuff. I don't know why I call that volunteer, but but the vibe and the fun was just so good, man. Like you'd be there all weekend and you'd be camping and that sort of thing. And just the vibe and that, the how welcoming that off-road community is. Like new families here. Oh, get them over to the fire. G'day, we're such and such, and introduce the kids to the kids. And the next minute, them new kids are out riding their BMX in the dark with the other kids. And it's just like, it's great stuff.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing for sure.
It is, man. Yeah. Do you have like a favorite moment out of season 24? Is there anything that just stands out sort of off the top of your head that was sort of
wow,
a lot of good stuff, wasn't there?
Yeah, I'm trying to think like what the best moment. There's so many.
It's funny because last year I had a lock on it all year. Like it was Eli at Anaheim was my. That was my 23 favorite. Like Eli winning at Anaheim 1 was just like, wow, what the fuck?
That was it?
That was it, that come from behind and, all that. Like, that was total my highlight. But this year, there's a lot of good stuff and it's a bit harder to pinpoint, but I do have it figured out. Yeah.
I guess what's sticking out in my mind is Sexton's ride at Moto 2 at Hangtown. Yeah. That was insane. Like you just don't feel like it's hard to believe in 2024 that a rider could come from the back to the front. It just doesn't seem doable. And he did it. Now, the only issue I had is I still sort of jokingly feel like he should have just let AP have that win. Let him have his moto win, damn it. But no, that was Yeah, I was too. But that was an incredible ride. But there's so many moments; it's hard to pick one. I mean, think about the big first turn pile up in Detroit for the 250 East class that threw that whole series into disarray. I mean, it probably cost Hayden the championship, and so many. I sit there and I think about like Benny Bloss falling 3 times in the same turn in Birmingham. That was just a funny moment to me for the season. Then there's all the outdoor stuff, Chase winning the title and Hunter riding. Man, it's so hard to pick one.
Yeah, it was a good year. It was a good year, man. Like I guess I have my personal one was walking up the steps into Anaheim Stadium in January, and like to my first US Supercross. That's top 3 in my life. So that's one personally, but I think my favorite moment, just thinking about the emotions that I felt throughout the year. I'm a guy who I've cried maybe. I think there's something wrong with my eyes. Like seriously, I've cried maybe 3 times in my adult life, and I was
I've cried 3 times a day.
Yeah, I think honestly, I reckon there's some. I feel emotion, but there's nothing comes out of my eyes. But and I certainly felt like that. So I'm a good mate of the real Ryan Hughes, RH22, who's the Ty Masterpool's mechanic, and I'm very aware of his mechanic career and how much he's had to sit out and not even get to races because his riders were injured a lot,
Sure.
And Ty's win, man, for that myself and all of Ryan's mates and that, we were just that was unbelievable. And I was happy for Ty, but I was just really happy for Ryan. That was a real highlight. I was very much on the edge of the couch for that, and so close. I thought Deegan was going to spoil it.
Yeah, he was coming. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah, and such an amazing story for Ty as well. And then so that was cool, man. That is
cool. That's a great story. Great one to have in your pocket.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Hey, speaking of Deegs, man. So here's a question that I one of the ones I prepped you a little bit on, but something that I've thought about. So if you are like coaching, mentoring, or giving advice to one of Deegs' rivals, Levi, Chance, Juju, what do you say, man? Like Deegs is so dominant. What do you say? What advice are you going to give them?
That's a tough one because sometimes when you look at a guy, they're simply better, right? But you just can't say that.
Yeah,
I think my number one. No, I think my number one advice would be do not let the things he says on the podium bother you. You have to ignore that first and foremost. You can't let that gets you overly excited or pissed off. You got to go race your own race. And yeah, after that, man, I think you got to maybe not so much focus on Hayden, but you got to focus on, you got to get a good start. And then if he's around you, he's coming, latch on, look at what he's doing, try to figure out what he's doing. But mentally, I don't know how you overcome that, because I'm a type of guy, like when I go ride, like that dude's just better, period. Yeah. Those guys, though, at that level cannot say that. They have to believe they're the best.
Have to believe, yeah.
So, yeah, maybe I would try to find flaws in Hayden's program and tell them, hey, look, he's not so good here, or he's slacking here. He's not inhuman. He's not a robot, right? I mean, other than that, I don't know. He's just like Jet. How do you tell anybody to go beat Jet? You basically, it's like, well, you got to hope he crashes. I don't know.
I know. It's a tough one, man. But yeah, I think about there's a lot of people in this situation that I'm sort of bringing up.
Yeah.
Like, and
But.
What
and I'm sure those people
tell Levi,
like, he's probably telling him, "Oh, you're just as good." He's not that good, but that's not true.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, because putting more laps in isn't going to really do it. I don't like. You can tell Levi. I'm sure Levi is training just as hard, right? So I don't know what the answer is. Just again, sometimes those guys are just that much better. Period. It just is what it is.
Yeah. They all need to. Maybe talk to Chad Reed, because he's the he's the ultimate at having belief. Like most of his career he's racing James. and Ricky, man, and Chad was totally convinced he was winning every race. So he's the master at that mindset, isn't he? Yeah, which is that's cool, man.
They kind of have to be a little delusional sometimes.
Yeah, they need to be. Yeah. It's a interesting thing, man. Yeah, all that. It's a real sports psychology thing, which a lot of stick and ball sports get heavily into. Moto, not so much yet, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, a few of those guys have psychologists, but yeah, I think it's really important, because again, just even the guys coming out of the amateur scene, when they're so, like a Ryder D, so used to winning.
Yes.
And overnight you're not winning anymore. And you need to have somebody in your corner that can kind of tell you, hey, mentally, this is why this is happening. It takes time, because as an athlete, or just even as a human, to have that big of a flip-flop overnight on anything, it's hard to comprehend. Like, well, what's different, right? I was so good before. I think you really need somebody like a psychologist, or somebody that at least has can help you with the mental side to decompress and analyze these things in a more realistic way.
Yeah. I think in general it's better nowadays than it used to be, but yeah, there's probably definitely a spot for the old sports psychologist to do more. Like, you go back in the day, guys who, your boy Bradshaw is a great example, man. Imagine if Damon had a not even a sports psychologist, but just some really good mental coaching around him, like what he could have done, when things were falling apart for him.
I think that would have been very beneficial. It's funny you brought him up, because I'm going through the 93 season right now for a story I'm working on, comparing McGrath's rookie year to like how Jet season is. And I've been watching all the races from 93, and Bradshaw just looks like he's pissed off and angry all the time. And he doesn't even look like he's having fun riding, which he probably wasn't, which might be why some of his results weren't very good. So I can't wait to get him on the phone to relive some of the 93 stuff. But I think that was a mental beatdown for a lot of those guys, because the year before Stanton had come back and won that title, and Stanton and Bradshaw were expected to be the guys, also like Jeff Matasevich, Mike LaRocco, and McGrath kind of just made them look bad a lot of the times. And I bet that was a mind F for those guys that have been in it for a long time. The announcers like Dave Despain and Myers, why am I forgetting his first name?
Larry
Myers.
Yeah.
Larry Myers are like, rookies aren't supposed to do this. Nobody expected him to win. What does he do? Why? How is McGrath doing this? And McGrath's just like, I don't know, man. I just go out there and I believed in myself. It's just kind of funny to listen to them. How like nobody thought it could happen, and it had to mess with their minds. It had to.
Yeah. I actually like that's all very fresh in my mind, man. Like, I mean, I'm a huge fan. Like early '90s stuff is like, that's my thing. But I write stories nowadays for main event. So they're Patreon stories, so everyone can't read them, So I can get a little bit loose on there. And I wrote a story about that. It was about when the changing of the guards, like throughout the years, and sort of really referencing it back to Jet and Eli, where there's been a real changing of the guard. And one of the seasons I talk about is '93, where there was a changing of the guard. So that's all.
I just need to go look. I just need to go look at your article. Then maybe I don't even have to do the research. I'll just steal yours.
Yeah, look, it's not a I usually, most of my stories I do when I did them for Moto Limited and now for main event, I try and make them something people can read in sort of 2-3 minutes. So it's not, there's not a wealth of information there, like it's just sort of, I love writing, and I used to, my favorite things was reading the articles from like Super Hunky and Tom Webb and that sort of thing. That sort of, that sort of writing. They're sort of my writing heroes, those two guys. So I try and be a little bit like them.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, cool. But
I dig it.
Oh yeah, the Bradshaw thing would be very, very interesting. What he says, man. Very interesting.
Yeah, I'm going to reach out to a lot of those guys. I know I can get a hold of Stanton and Lamson and even like Denny Stevenson and Budman were kind of in the back of the pack that year. But yeah, I want to get a bunch of those guys on. I want to get a hold of Kodrowski if I can, and he'll be one of the ones that's more difficult. But yeah, I definitely want to recap that, and then like you said, kind of relay that to how Jet's doing this year and how the current riders are adjusting, and maybe even look at like later on at Dungey's rookie 450 year winning the title. So that's what I'm kind of going through those races right now and making notes and reminding myself of some of the things that happened. Like I just watched Daytona 93 today. That was pretty Kodrowski's first win. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah. It is. It's great, man. Isn't it? Like do you love that sort of stuff? You love that digging into history a little bit and that sort of thing? Like, cause that's I'm in my zone with that shit, man. Like that.
Yeah, I do like going back and looking at it, and a lot of it, my memory is so bad. Just in general, it's so bad. So to go back and be like, oh, I forgot about that, it brings it all back. And just how different the tracks were. The tracks sucked, but they were way cooler for racing. It wasn't just like, I don't know, like it wasn't so perfect. The tracks were all shit, and they're on two strokes. They're having to stop for corners, and man, the racing was better.
Yeah. I think it was, man. Man, it's still amazing, but I think it was. Yeah. But I'm definitely like I'm a badge wearing like old guy, man. Like I'm on the porch yelling at kids for sure, man. Like that's I'm that's funny. That's more I can't get away from that mindset. I try to, but I go back to that, man. I always go back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
That's funny,
dude. Hey, so tell us a bit about goals, man. So your goals. So I know the story of how you got started ringing pulp, but even before that, did you like set out goals of how you were going to do that, or did you just ring up pulp and then sort of think, oh, I could do something here? Was there, what came first?
Yeah, I never, this is definitely a negative character trait. I never believed I had a shot to do anything. Like I just thought it was for fun. I just called in because I enjoyed the show and I liked being a part of that. So no, there was really never a goal of, oh, maybe I can get into the industry. I just didn't think it could happen. So it was just day to day, and you're like, oh, well, it just started as like, let's get involved with my buddy's podcast that turned into my podcast. And but there was never really a set goal. That's probably one of I'm not even going to say probably, it is one of my weak points today. What's my goal now? I got this job at Vital. What's the goal? And I kind of live day to day and maybe week to week, but that's about it. And that's probably a downfall a little bit. I need better goals. Probably. I'm not really wired that way. So yeah, it was really, I feel like I just did it because it was fun and it turned into something, and I'm still surprised by it 2.5 years later.
Yeah, cool. So because my next question was, what's your goal now? Like you've come so far. So what's the goal now? So, yeah.
Well, my goal is to be better at what I'm doing now for sure. That's the primary goal. All I really did before I became literally a full-time job in the industry was I did a podcast, right? I would call these guys up and do an interview. It's Q&A. It's not that hard. Anybody almost could do Q&A. The hard part for me is the creative side. Okay, I'm going to make a story out of whatever this, you listen to a writer like Lewis Phillips, my coworker, so good at listening to an interview and going, oh, there's 3 or 4 stories in with what he just said. So my goal is really to kind of follow in that footstep and get better at coming up with unique and interesting ideas to write stories about. Because Lewis's written articles are so unique, in my opinion, compared to what everybody else is doing in the industry. And my goal is to just get better at that kind of thing and not just keep doing over and over. Let's do a Q&A. I'll call up Levi Kitchen and do an interview. That gets old, right? And people get tired of that. So my goal is just to get better at riding and riding, not writing, riding the bike and learning about the bike so I can do more testing type stuff. Cause I'm very much a fish out of water trying to test and write about that, but I want to get better at that. So even if I am doing it from the average vet standpoint, but to be able to express what I'm feeling, those are kind of the goals right now that I have currently.
Yeah. Well, we need that, man, because the average vet is like the vast majority of riders, that are buying stuff. We're the guys that are buying bikes and wanting to know about them. And a lot of the vets are also the guys who have a little bit of disposable income that can buy their bike and can modify it and can do, there's the old stereotype jokes about vets. Well, it's true, man. Like you can.
100%. 100%. So yeah, that's my goal. Like, I don't think I'll ever be the guy like a Chris Kiefer that can feel the difference in a sidewall of a tire. I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but I can definitely tell you, well, this 350 feels like this for me versus a 450. And this is how, as a vet, it makes me feel. This is, even like I did a recent review on the 25 KTM 350, and what I felt is very, very different from what all the testers felt, and even what the OEM says it is. But it's still, I just said, like, this is what I felt it did to me. And even though it wasn't the most accurate description of what it was doing, it's what I felt as an average guy. Yeah. And hopefully that helps somebody. I did get some feedback on guys that were like, well, hey, that helps me, understand what I'm feeling a little bit, because I'm not a good rider either. So, but I want to get better at that. I do want to be able to say, all right, I changed these engine mounts out and I noticed a difference. So that's a goal for sure, but I have to ride a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you find it like genuinely like interesting? All the testing stuff, like what Chris does and all those guys. Yeah,
I do, but I also get overwhelmed sometimes. Like if they're talking about suspension stuff, it can be so confusing after a while, and I'm lost. So that's a struggle. And I think that kind of goes to the same character trait I have with not short-term memory and planning. It's like, it's just, I have to learn to focus more on things and really retain stuff, and maybe let my ADD slow down a little bit and really so. But I am interested in that. Yeah, like it's really cool when I go to the track now, and I do feel something though. Like when I change a suspension setting on the 350, like when I got it, I was really struggling on that bike. Made some suspension changes, made some sag changes, and I went out there and I was like, holy shit. Within half a lap, I felt the difference, and that was exciting. I remember calling Chris that night going, dude, I felt it, and getting really pumped on it. So that is definitely something that, I'm excited about, and I'm getting more and more into.
Yeah, cool. Because like I am, I'm like, speaking to Chris, like, how he talks about, he's a soul rider on the mountain bike. I'm like, I challenge anyone in the world, I reckon, to be more soul on their dirt bike than me. Like I am, like I'm as soul as it gets, man.
Yeah.
Like, I just ride, man. But and it's funny, but I find the testing stuff really, really interesting, even though I am just like, I just ride, I maintain my bikes well, but then I just ride them, And
like, me too. In the past, me too.
Yeah. And, I don't change anything until it's broken, and I just ride, man.
I did an exhaust test for FMF on the Yamaha a few months back. I went with FMF exhaust on the slip-on on the 24 Yamaha 450, and I went out. I was by myself. I went out and I did 2 or 3 laps, and I came in and I switched the exhaust, and I went and did 2 or 3 laps. I came back and I switched back to the stock, and I was like, okay, like I'm feeling it. It's tedious, especially if you're doing it by yourself, but it was pretty cool to really feel the difference and see, and even go, oh, yeah, the FMF looks badass, but I actually like the stock exhaust better. That was kind of an interesting time for me, and that was one of the first times where I really tested back and forth over a period of like 2 hours, just going back and forth. And so, it's kind of cool. And I'm liking that. It'd be a lot easier if I had some help, but being all the way out in East Texas and by myself, that's kind of difficult, but I do want to do more of it.
Yeah. You got lots of tracks to ride there though, don't you? I remember you saying, dude, in the past, lots of tracks. I'm jealous, man.
I have 3 full-blown motocross tracks that are private tracks, like in people's yards, basically, that are a minute and a half lap times, 3 of them within 5 miles of myself. And then we have the public tracks. There's 3 or 4 within an hour, and then you get a couple hours away, and you add 4 or 5 more. We're blessed in East Texas with motocross tracks. Within 5 hours, I couldn't even tell you. There's probably 20 tracks.
That's amazing, man. Yeah. Like our this year's been so hard, man. Like we've had these new regulations come through for the safety standards of tracks, and a lot of tracks just weren't open much this year because they had to change a lot of stuff. It's all to do with all insurance. Basically, the insurance said you've got to do this. So, so that's caused a lot of grief. And but then there's not many around anyway. So like it's man, I can't even remember the last time I hit a man-made jump, like you got to.
Oh, that's sad.
And I just I'm hanging out for it, but and then we're coming into summer. Like our tracks, a lot of our tracks, they won't run much in the middle of summer because they run out of water. So, yeah, Moto's more winter here. Yeah.
Okay. That's the definite issue we're having locally is these private tracks. There's no water. We haven't had rain in months.
Yeah.
So that has been but I'm just going out, like my buddy's track that's literally 2 miles from my house. I'll go ride it. And it's just dust. It's silt, like out in the desert. There's no water, but at least I'm getting some laps in.
Yeah,
I'll do 15-minute motos on a shitty track, but at least I'm getting a ride.
Yeah, when you're on your own or a couple of years and you space out, yeah, but they can't hold an open day, when there's just going to be dust bowl, for obvious reasons. Yeah, so that's a tough one, man. But and even off-road events here, it's even harder. With when you get into the, so they end up running a lot of, sprint enduros. I think you would call it a sprint enduro. We just call them sprints, where it's just like time trials. So everyone's spaced out a minute apart, 30 seconds apart. I used to run those, and you'd judge it on the dust. Sometimes you'd go like, you'd get a couple of guys to go out, and you'd be like, yeah, the dust is pretty cleared after 30 seconds. All right, everyone, we're doing 30-second games.
That's funny. Yeah. I like it. It's very organized.
That's basically how you'd have to do it. You'd have to test when the dust settles to gap people. Otherwise, it's just carnage. That's really where you just can't see. Yeah, man. Yeah,
that's cool. Long as you get to ride.
That's it, man. Yeah, I still get to ride, man. I'm a bit over riding my crappy bush tracks. I really want to get to a moto track soon. Yeah, that's for sure.
Sure.
That's it, man. That's it. World Vets is coming up, man. Dude,
2 weeks.
2 weeks, is it that soon, man? Yeah.
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Riding wise and cardio wise, I feel good, but I also know how bad I am at Glen Helen. So people aren't going to like this that are fans or listeners or whatever, but like, I'm a 5. I'm going to just go, I'm going out to have some fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out and ride the track and try not to get hurt. And yeah, that's about it, man. It's going to be a good time. I'm expecting good stories, but as far as good results, I would expect mid-pack for me probably. I don't ride well on the California tracks, period.
Yeah.
Now, if we could do a 30-minute moto, I'll be good.
Yeah.
Because I doubt most of those guys in my class can do 30 minutes, and I've been doing like 30-plus minute motos.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, that's it. Now, if you turn up as a 5 man, it might work for you.
Maybe
ass because you're more relaxed.
The big thing is obviously Steve and I mess with each other, and like I would love to beat Steve, but the reality is he is technically on his technique side, he's a better rider than I am. People go, he's heavy or whatever. And I mean, he's lost a lot of weight, but he's a good rider and he's used to those type of tracks, and he is better out there than I am. We've rode in some places like at Lakewood when we went to the ride day, and last year at Millville, where I was better because I'm willing to do some of the jumps he's not doing, and the dirt's different. But out there, he's better than me. I wish he would come out here and do something with me, but I'd be surprised if I beat Steve at Glen Helen, if I'm being honest. But the goal is to go have fun.
Yeah, man. That's it. And, all the fans are excited, man, because it's going to make for a lot of fun content and storylines. And no matter how you go, it's going to be good fun for everyone else.
Yeah. So. I'll tell you what's going to be a good story. I don't know if you listened to any of our last couple shows, but I'm going to Ironman this next weekend, not 2 days from now.
Yeah.
I don't know when this posts, but on the 26th, is Ironman for the GNCC. Yamaha is doing the intro of their 25 YZ250 FX. So I'm going to go out there Friday for the intro. I'm racing the 250 on Sunday on the bike class, but Yamaha asked if I would do a team race on Saturday on a quad. I don't ride quads, dude. My teammates are another Vital MX employee, one of our new guys, Dave Slappy, is I believe he's going to be one of our teammates. But then our other 2 teammates is Damon Bradshaw and Ryan Villapoto. No matter how this thing goes, it's going to be a hell of a story, because either I'm going to be really bad and RV and Damon are just going to talk so much shit, or we're going to do well and it's going to be like we're the champions of the world. I don't know how it's going to go, but it's going to be an awesome story. Yeah,
man. Yeah, I'll look forward to seeing the content for that. You make sure you got a good film guy there, man, because that.
Yeah, Dave's coming to film the intro and stuff, and he'll be riding with us, so he won't be filming that. But we'll find somebody to get some footage. I'm sure Yamaha will have somebody there. I'll take my GoPro. I don't know if they'll let me wear it at that event or not, but regardless, the stories are going to be good. I'm going to take a notebook with me to write down all the funny shit those RV and Damon talk, because they talk so much trash. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I'll bet, man. Hey, what are you riding at Glen Helen?
I'll have a 25 Yamaha 450. I didn't get the 25 yet because they did the intro out there in California. I haven't had a chance to go, but Yamaha's going to bring one out, and then they're going to let me bring that home with me back to Texas. So that's something else I'm going to do in the future, is I'll have a Yamaha 450 and the KTM 350. So I want to do some content out here on which bikes are better where for vet riders between a 450 and a 350. But I'll be riding the 25 Yamaha 450 at Vets, a bike I've never been on. That should go really well.
Cool. Will Andy Gregg have you hooked up with a gut seat cover for that in time?
Probably not. I know I won't get one I could take one with me, I guess, but then staple it on at the track. I guess he could send me one. I'll probably just ride it in stock form for that, but I'll definitely get a Guts Racing seat cover sent to the house for when I get back.
That's it. You want to try and get one in time for World Vets, man, because it'll increase your lap times by like 2-3 seconds easy. So
hell yeah, it will.
Hey, yeah, while we're talking about Guts Racing, Guts Racing, I'm very, very proud that that they are the first sponsor of this show, and they've been with us for a while now.
That's awesome. Good for you.
It is awesome, man. Yeah, Andy is a good dude. He believed in me early on and started helping me out. So if you want to be like Guida Wolf and be a world champion, you got to have a Guts seat cover. If you want to be like Darkside, you got to run a Guts seat cover. Hey,
I put a Guts Racing seat cover on all my bikes. On the 24 Yamaha, I went to the hard foam and the raised seat, which for me as a taller rider was so much better. I will do the same thing with the 25. And he's got a lot of great products. I mean, the Phantom Light seat foam, come on, man. There's not a better seat foam in the business. And dude, with all these e-bikes and like the Talarias and the Super 73 or Super 73s and the Surons, he's got seat covers for all those. Guts Racing's a place to go. And it's hard to beat, man, because they'll get those orders out usually within like 3 days. That's what they strive to do. Can't beat them.
That's it, man. Even quad seat covers. You can even get quad seat covers. So
yeah, you can.
I remember who would it have been? Oh, it was when I spoke to Heath Harrison. They even used Guts covers on the quad GNCC quads. So you can't get a higher, like, that's got to be the toughest thing on a seat. A GNCC quad seat has to be the toughest thing on a seat that there is. Like, and yeah, the old Phoenix Honda using those. So yeah.
Yep.
That's it, man. Yeah. Gutsracing.com. That's a really easy website to remember. Gutsracing.com. And as privateer hero, Scott Meshy said on the show, they are a butt gripper and they will make you a ripper.
So I like it. That's a good quote.
He come up with that on the spot. He's a good man. Yeah.
I like it. So, I might steal that.
You can, man. Yeah, yeah. So so like Darkside said, you can get tall seats, man. You can get bumps. You've seen a lot more of the bumps are coming back. You can get the wide wing seat. If you can think of a color, they'll have it. You can even get Velcro fitment seats.
Yep.
Complete seats. If you are going to tackle the staple gun fitment, when you get your seat, it actually comes with a QR code. When you get your seat cover, it comes with a QR code you scan, and it takes you to a video where there'll be Andy Gregg himself there showing you the best way to install that cover, which is just amazing service. So there you go.
Good stuff.
Get around that. All right. What's next question for Darkside? Time travel. Here we go. The time travel. This is a fun one I like to do.
Okay.
So if you can time travel to a concert, where are you going? Who are you seeing?
Any concert or a concert I've been to in the past?
And you can go back to one you've been to, man, or you can go to one that you've never been to before you were born, man. You can anything. Small club, stadium.
That's so difficult because you kind of want to go like you want to go like Woodstock because there's so much history. But then there's some of there was that festival in California last year at Indigo or whatever, Indio, or it was like Metallica and Tool and Ozzy and Guns N' Roses. I think, okay, so one of my biggest regrets on missing a tour was Guns N' Roses, Metallica, I think 93, if I'm not mistaken, 92 or 93. Again, I think I mentioned my mom was strict. I didn't get to go to concerts. All my friends went to that show. I think that would be the one I would probably pick first. But man, that's so difficult. There's so many, like the Beatles or Hendrix. Fuck. I'm going to go Metallica, Guns N' Roses, but that's only my answer today. It might change in an hour.
It's a hard one, man. You know,
it's impossible.
I've obviously, I've been asking this question for a while, so I've had a good think about it, man. And I would actually like to go to just some grubby club in Seattle and see a real early Alice in Chains.
That's a good one.
Just some shitty club. Nobody really knows who they are, but the lineup's together. You know, the four guys are together, and they're and they're knocking out a couple. They're trying out a couple of hits that aren't hits yet, and that'd be amazing, man. Like that would be. That's probably
yeah. Like that, yeah. When you say that, or like Tool's my favorite band. Seeing Tool in the club days. Or, geez, it's impossible. Yeah, I'm just sitting there trying to think of like, I could go see Metallica or Guns N' Roses currently. So, yeah, maybe you go back to somebody that's passed away. I never saw Linkin Park. I don't think that would be on my list right away. Or Chris Cornell on Soundgarden.
Yeah.
Whew, that is. Yeah, I don't like you asking me that question. That's impossible.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. It's funny though. Some people have got the answer locked in. I've had some people just like Queen at Wembley, bang, like Queen at Wembley. That's it because they're Queen fans, and it's just like bang, Queen at Wembley, and that sort of thing. And so some people have it sort of locked in. They've already thought about it a lot, I guess. Like I wish I'd seen that. I've had some people some people it's just like, definitely Elvis, definitely the Beatles, because they're really, locked in on they've got a real extreme favorite, I guess.
Yeah.
It's my favorite changes a lot, but it's always the same few, So when it's all said and done, if you gun to my head, AC/DC is my favorite, like AC/DC's like Vegemite and kangaroos, man. It's just like it's in my blood. Okay. Like my dad gave me an AC/DC cassette, as a kid. Like, this is the shit. This is Aussie shit, So, But
or maybe I go like Save the Day kind of thing, and I go back to like when Great White, which is another one of my favorite bands, and the club burnt down. And if you could go back and say, hey, don't set that pyro off, save the day and have a great concert. I don't know if you could save the day at Woodstock 99, but there's so many options because like you said, like I could go to Woodstock, but those aren't my favorite bands, but there's so much history there.
Yeah.
So do you go history and see a band that wasn't your favorite, but it's part of history? Or do you go see one of your favorite bands? Like I'd love to see Janis Joplin and, I can't do it though. I don't know. I said Metallica, Guns N' Roses, but I'm changing it already. I don't know.
yeah. And too, man, like I know how like your music knowledge and all that sort of thing, your music taste, from listening to you. I know like, it's deep, like you're deep into it, man,
Yeah.
Like, into vinyl and all that sort of thing. Like I love music, man, but my taste is broad in a sense. But I still have, I just always my whole life I just go back to my favorites, Like,
yeah, me too.
I'm not really that. I guess I'm not that knowledgeable on music, even though I love it so much and I can't do without it, So
okay.
But the Alice in Chains thing, I think that would be the one for me. Plus, too, I love that small bar scene more than a big concert as well. With me as a person, like I like that. Yeah. That's
because I was just thinking like Guns N' Roses in the club day before they broke back, like at the Whiskey A Go Go or something like that. That'd be,
the Whiskey, or what's the other? The Whiskey
Troubadour.
One of them clubs, just to even be in one of them clubs. Yeah. Back in the day when all those guys were hanging out, like imagine that, I just recently listened to 18 and Life, so like Sebastian Bach, the audio book, like the audio. I don't know if I'm sure you've probably read the book, but you got to listen to the audio version, man, because he chucks in a lot of extras, and he narrates it himself. And he chucks in a lot of extras, and some of the things he's talking about when they were at the Whiskey and that, like, it is so funny, man. Like, and it's funny, man. Sebastian's really good at taking off other people. He's really good at like doing the voice of other people. So the narrated version's amazing, man. You've got to give it a shot.
I'll download it as soon as we're done talking. I'll listen to that when I drive to the race this weekend.
Like when he's talking about hanging out with Lars, and he's doing Lars's accent, doing the Danish accent and all that. Like
yeah.
It's funny, man.
That's great.
I'm a big Sebastian Bach fan, man.
Me too. I have one of his lyrics on my arm.
I know, man. That's right. Yeah, you got to meet him, and I remember the photo, and the lyrics and all that. Yeah, man. Which lyric is it, man? What is it?
It's from his first solo album, and it's "Who Cares About Death? Right Now I'm Alive."
Okay. Yeah.
He didn't even remember the lyric. He read it. And he's like, "What's that from?" I was like, "It's one of your songs." He was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot." Because I don't think he wrote a lot of those songs, but that lyric always stuck out. The whole lyric is "Who cares about death? Right now I'm alive. My 2 feet upon this earth, under her skies." Yeah. And that line really, it just caught me the first time I heard it, and I love it. I think the song is called "To Live Is to Die" or something like that. I don't even remember now; it's been so long, but it's one of the last 2 or 3 songs on that first solo album he did.
Cool. You got a fair bit of ink, haven't you, man? Like from what I've heard. Everyone knows about you, the Darkside tattoo, but you got a fair bit of ink otherwise than that?
Oh, yeah. I don't even know how many. I'm covered.
You love it. Yeah.
Both arms have a bunch, legs, stomach, ribs. Yeah, I got a lot of tattoos and ready to go get some more.
It's kind of addictive, isn't it? Like I don't have any, but my wife's into it. She loves it. She's like, she's inked up, and it's like
it is addictive. Yeah. You get one, you're like, well, that's not enough. I need more.
And I guarantee my kids will follow after their mum with it as well. Like they'll, especially my daughter, she's going to be inked up. The moment she's 18, I reckon she'll be down to the tattoo fella, the little shit. Yeah. But anyway, I can't stop that. But yeah, I don't care. I like tattoos. It's never been a priority for me, I guess, to get it. Like if someone,
I understand.
I always say, if someone wants to give me one for free, like they're good, they're not just, they're good. And they want to do it for free. Oh, hell yeah, I'll get heaps. But I've never sort of been a time or money priority for me, So
I understand they are expensive. I'm very lucky that I've got a couple of good buddies that are pretty good tattoo artists. And they either give me a really good deal, and sometimes they just don't even charge. So, it's pretty lucky.
Actually, my niece is coming to visit later today, actually. She, I don't know, what is she? She's 15, 16. She's an amazing drawer, fucking amazing drawer and creative drawing. And she's said sometimes she'd like to do tattoos, and I'm like, do it, kid. Good money. Like you get to be creative, earn good money. I said, you can practice on Uncle Steve, like go for your life, mate. So I might get some free ones there.
Yeah. I've got a stepdaughter that is very artistic and likes to draw and wants to be a tattoo artist. So I have 4 stepdaughters, and I got a tattoo for them. And basically what I did is I told each one of my girls, give me a symbol that kind of represents you, whether it be a flower or whatever. And they each gave me their ideas. 2 of them picked flowers. One of them picked a skull, and one of them picked a moth. And the one that draws, I said, here's their ideas. Draw me something. And she did. She drew up a tattoo, and it's tattooed on my ribs. And the cool thing, I thought it was cool, is I was going to have my guy let her tattoo the first couple lines of this piece of art on me. Unfortunately, she moved away like a month before I got the tattoo, and she was out of town, so she couldn't do it. But yeah, I do have a tattoo representing my girls that one of my daughters actually drew. So it's pretty cool.
That is really cool, man. I know my wife, like I lose track, man, of what she's got, but she's done things like that. I know she's got something that my daughter drew. She's got one of the last things where her dad wrote something, and he signed it off with "Love, Dad."
Yeah,
she got that put on her wrist. She's got a lot of meaningful things like that, which is really cool. I like that sort of meaningful stuff, with it. I like just some crazy shit too, but I like the meaningful stuff, that's there's a lot of bad tattoos out there, man.
I've got a couple.
What's the American? So here's a fun one, man. Bit of a tangent. The routine drunken Aussie tattoo to get that just so many guys and girls is the Southern Cross. So, which is, I don't know if
Yep.
you know what the Southern Cross is. Yeah, it's on our flag. That's the stars. That's like the routine thing that Aussies. That's like the drunken Aussie. Give me a Southern Cross. Like what's the American version of that, man? Is it like a bald eagle or something, or is this?
That would be one. Where I live in East Texas, barbed wire and the tribal stuff was big, but that was probably a few years ago. What am I seeing now? We get a lot of longhorns, like the cow with the big horns. A lot of longhorns.
Yeah.
What am I? I'm trying to think what else I see a lot of right now. Fish, a lot of fish, like big, colorful fish, whether it be a bass or something like that. Those are kind of big around here. Those seem like drunken tattoos to me. I would say those are the ones that I think of first.
Yeah. It's a funny thing. It's almost like, like even if you really wanted a Southern Cross nowadays, you wouldn't get it in Australia because it'd be just like, oh, dude, like, yeah. And the Southern Cross on the back of the calf muscle, that's like peak bogan. That's like peak bogan tattoo for Australia. That's like,
yeah. I see that a lot here too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, awesome, man, awesome. Dude, question. Now that you're full-time media guy and you have been for a while, but you've also come from a place of being just very much just regular fan buying your tickets. I notice different people I talk to and that there's a lot of different perspectives on the sport. So do you still draw back when you're in a media role at an event and you're getting sort of, you're getting to get to good spots, talk to good people, and your experience is different? Do you ever draw back on just what it was like when you were that regular fan sitting in the bleachers for
100%? Good. 100%. Whether I'm in the press box and I'm looking down and I see the people and how excited they are, or walking around the pits and you see the fans that are so excited when they're standing outside the tents and they're just like, or like, okay, the riders are going to practice, right? And Chase Sexton rides by, and they're like, oh my God, that was Chase. I remember that. And it's like, wow, man, that passion is still there. It's awesome to see, which is, I think, a lot of why, and Mathis makes fun of me for this sometimes, but I'll be in the press box and a listener or a fan will DM me and say, hey, is there any way I can meet you? And I'll take the time to walk from the press box down to the pits or whatever to say hi to somebody, because if for whatever reason they actually want to meet me, like I know what that felt like, right? I remember like wanting to meet the riders or wanting to meet weeds or whatever. So yeah, I 100% still relate, and I still feel that way when I walk over the banners to go into a truck. I'm like, this is freaking cool that I get to do this, but I do remember it's still cool to me. I still fanboy. So I absolutely relate still.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. And I reckon you're someone who will keep that, because I think some of the guys, and, like I'm obviously a fan of pretty much, I can't actually think of any of the media outlets that I don't like. Like I like everything. I listen to as much as I can. Actually there is probably a couple that I don't listen to, which is ones that everyone doesn't listen to, but we won't talk about them. You can guess that. But of the reputable mobs, I guess, I think even some of those guys, they do lose a little bit of perspective sometimes, and they look at an event and through the eyes of them now, and forget about sometimes the fan experience. So I'm glad to hear you say that. And it's an interesting thing, like I find, you can get an event that I can watch on the TV and it's like, this was fucking amazing. This was fucking great. You'll get someone that was there that shit cans it because of their experience there was uncomfortable, because the Wi-Fi was bad. It was too hot. It was too cold. It was whatever, or might get panned because the track prep wasn't right, and so all the teams are canning it, but the fans loved it because that created good racing. So there's all these different perspectives. It's very interesting. I always sort of say, and I have a show now. It's very small scale, so I'm still just look through the eyes of a fan, And even if when I get to go to an event, I'm looking through the eyes of a fan. But it's an interesting thing, and in the end, it's the fans that are buying tickets that are what keeps this thing going. So I always think
absolutely
it's good for anybody, whether it's Feld, whether it's Davey, the big media guys, team managers, riders, and all that. It's always good for them to keep a little bit grounded with the fans. Yeah. And some of them do, man. Some of them do, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they do for the most part. There's definitely, you do get a little bit, I wouldn't say jaded is the word. You just get busy. You're working because it is a job, right? So sometimes like you can be busy and in a hurry, and a listener, a fan or whatever, and maybe you don't make enough time for them. I hope I haven't done that, but it's possible I have. And because you're rushing to get to an interview or whatever, but you got to try to find that line and separate it a little bit. I got to get my work done. But yeah, without these fans here at the race, there is no sport. If they don't show up, there's no sport. Yeah. And I'm certainly not anywhere near even on the close to the same level as the riders. But if somebody wants to take the time to say hi to me, I'm going to do my best to do that, to take time for a picture and make it happen. Because I just think it's important, and I still look at it through the eyes of a fan also.
Yeah. Cool, man. That's good, man. And I just knowing your personality, I think that'll stick with you. Like they talk about. I think you'll long term you'll be more like Weege, where you are still talking to everyone, not so much like Steve. Like I'm a fan of Steve's, but we all know Steve isn't great at the old. He doesn't like people that much,
He's better than you. He's better than he's made out to be. I have seen him turn and take time for fans time and time again. Look, if he's in a hurry to get somewhere, to a press conference in the past, whatever, he'll say, "Hey, I got to do this." But he takes time. He will sit and talk to people. A lot of his assholeness is an act.
Yeah,
he has a big heart, man. He has done so much for me. People give me crap all the time, like, "Oh, I wouldn't put up with all that crap the way he does." And some of the times he crosses the line, but he has a big heart, and he takes time for his friends, and he will take time for the fans. Yes, he doesn't want to go on a mountain bike ride with somebody he doesn't know, but if he's at a race and if he actually has a minute, he will definitely stop and talk to people. He's not as bad as people think.
Yeah. There's a bit of an act there, I think, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm pretty sure that he's got me blocked. This might
really?
I think I'm blocked. I think I've been blocked for ages. Either that, or he gets so many that he's never responded. But I did this thing that I thought was funny ages ago when he first moved into the big house. Right when he first moved into the big house, and I was listening to a show. And I don't know, something made me. It made something someone was saying, giving him shit about his big house, made me think of the Burns mansion in The Simpsons, right?
Oh yeah.
So I was, and at that stage I was into doing, how it was a trend to be swapping faces. That was a big trend about then. Everyone was swapping faces onto different bodies. Haha, that's funny, And I put. There was a scene from the screenshot from The Simpsons, and I put Steve's face on Monty Burns, and I put it would have been either Rocky or Oggie's face on one of the hounds, the release the hounds. And I sent it to him, and I've never even got a like since then. So I think maybe he didn't like that. Oh man,
that's funny.
I thought it was funny anyway. It made certainly.
I think it's funny.
It certainly made me laugh.
I like that. That's good.
That's it, man. That's it.
That's good stuff.
Here's a fun one. So
okay.
This is so I'm going to say different brands or things in the sport, and tell me which former rider it reminds you of.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So this the first time I did this was with DB. We did like a trial run with DB, and it was fun. So we'll give it a shot. I've changed up the brands because there was a few that were too easy when we did it with DB.
Okay.
So okay, Axo.
David Bradshaw.
David Bradshaw. Was that like real easy, or did you have to?
Well, I just watched 93 today, and he was an
Of
Axo. Yeah.
course. Yeah. Cool. Suzuki.
Ezra Lusk.
Yogi, cool, man, cool. That's not one I expected. I just think of Travis, and then strangely, it's so long ago, but I also just think of Bomber. So
yeah, Guy Cooper was my second one, but yeah.
Cool. Off-road racing.
Caleb Russell.
Yeah. That's sort of the one that I was expecting. That's the one that I was expecting.
I mean, I could go current, I mean, I'm buddies with, some of the Yamaha guys and Rachel Archer and some of those current ones, but yeah, Caleb Russell's not even that old school, but I'll go Caleb Russell.
Yeah, man. Podium girls.
Diana Dahlgren, duh.
No, but what rider does Podium Girls make you think of?
Oh, what rider?
Yeah, Diana's the easy one. Yeah, but Podium Girls. There's been a lot of Podium Girl antics as riders over the years.
Jim Holly.
Nice. I always think of Bob Hanna throwing the girl over his shoulders and all that. But yeah, Jim Holly's definitely a good one. Yeah, man. Cool. Yamaha.
Bradshaw
again. Yeah.
I'm kind of stuck in that era right now.
You're thinking Bradshaw at the moment. I was expecting Chad because Yamaha, man, when you think of Yamaha, it's like, fuck, there's a long list of champions there, man. Like, who do you think of with Yamaha? Like, there's so many,
Could have went Emig also.
Yeah, man. There's so many, man. Nearly everybody's had their time on Yamaha, man. Yeah, cool. That's it, man. That's it. I reckon I might just throw in a couple of my other fun questions, man, before I let you go.
Okay.
What do we got? Describe Darkside in high school, man.
Kind of quiet. Well, I'm still quiet now. Not very cool. Probably not cool now either. Yeah, man. I was pretty smart. I was good at school. So maybe, I don't know if I would be considered a nerd, but I definitely didn't do the quote unquote cool stuff. I didn't go hanging out to parties. I just got my work done. I played football and I stayed out of trouble so that I could race motorcycles. So I was kind of quiet and just a person in the background, probably.
Yeah. Just one of those kids that the other kids would forget. Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be completely forgotten because I did have a large group of diverse friends. But the thing is, my dad was in the military. So I went to 13 different schools in 12 years of school.
Yeah.
So I went to 2 separate high schools, never really felt at home at either one. So, I mean, I wouldn't say I was forgettable, but maybe I was, but I don't think so. I just wasn't, but I also wasn't like, I wasn't one of the ones that got in the yearbook as like, the most successful or the best looking or whatever. I was just kind of in the background, knew everybody, but probably didn't stand out completely either.
Yeah. Interesting, man. Interesting. When you're on the football team though, man, what position did you play?
I played wide receiver. I played tight end, defensive end, and inside linebacker.
Cool.
Yeah.
So at high school they do throw you around a little bit, do they? In a football, not like by the time they get to college and they're just locked into one position.
Right. Well, like my freshman and sophomore year when we lived in California, my dad was at an Army base, but the high school was 30 miles away. So I didn't stay after school and play football because I wanted to get home. We actually had a motocross track on base. So I only played high school football my junior and senior year here in Texas. When I first moved here, my junior year, I played tight end and linebacker. And then my senior year, they moved me to wide receiver and defensive end. So I played both sides of the ball, different positions each year, but mostly I like catching the ball, and then defensive end by far is my favorite position, though. I love playing defensive end.
It's interesting, man. Like I love American football. Like I like it more than Aussie rules, which is an unpopular opinion down here. But
Yeah, sure.
but my knowledge of the sport is lacking. Like I know all about the Broncos, and I know all about past Broncos and current Broncos and all that sort of thing. But my knowledge of history of other teams and even of the intricacies of the game, because I didn't grow up with it, is still my knowledge doesn't match my passion for it. Like I haven't missed a Broncos snap, whether it was good or bad, for I don't know, over 10 years. So since I could afford to or probably not even afford, since the Game Pass International package was available. So I think that was like I reckon Tebow or Orton was our quarterback when that first became available. So that's over 10 years, isn't it? That's like 13, 14 years. Yeah. So that's
crazy.
Ago. But it is. It's super. Like there's a bit of a narrative, some of the Aussies think that don't know much about it, just think they're all just look like these big dumb guys, like like rugby. They're just these big dumb guys. There's this sort of narrative. Sure. But like it is the most, like you can't play American football unless you're smart, man. Like you've got to be smart. You've got to.
It's a lot to remember.
The memory and the precision and all that. It's like there's a real intelligence level into it as well as the physicality. So yeah,
100%.
I like it, man. I like it. And let me go with one more. Something that I wouldn't have asked you last time.
Okay.
Just tell us something that nobody knows.
Oh wow! Something that nobody knows.
Something that we don't know about Darkside yet. Like are you into like
okay,
you're sneakily doing a bit of martial arts or something? Like, is there anything like that we don't know?
No, I don't know. Let me see if you guys can see this. This is nerdy. Can you see what's on that table over there? Can you see it?
A jigsaw.
Yep. Yeah. I recently have gotten into doing puzzles thanks to Pookie. When I was at the last Pulp Mech show, she was doing a puzzle. Yeah. I sat and did a puzzle with her, and I was like, "Oh, this is fun." So I guess I'm officially old. Yeah, I'm doing a puzzle. That's something I haven't told anybody. So other than that, I also I like Justin Timberlake and music. I don't usually tell people that. So there's a couple of things that I don't usually tell people that I guess are maybe interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I like the Justin Timberlake one, man. Like everyone's got their things, man. Like I'm a sucker for Leanne Rimes, man. Like I always say.
That's my sister's favorite. She just saw her a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I always say I couldn't fight the moonlight. Remember that song? That's what I say. I couldn't fight the moonlight, Leanne. Like I was been a sucker since that song from that movie. My daughter was watching that damn movie a while back, and I heard a song, and I was like, "You're watching? That's Leanne. Like, what are you watching it?" Coyote Ugly.
That's awesome.
That's it. Coyote Ugly. She was watching it because she loves like 90s movies as well as 90s music.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's my girl Leanne. So there you go. You gotta have a few things where people are like, you really like that? I think that stuff's funny. And you got to be cool enough to admit it too, hey? Because some people won't.
For sure. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care, man. I reckon it's
that's anybody cool. That follows me knows I'm okay with being embarrassed.
Yeah, man. I'm okay with being embarrassed, that's for sure. And that brings me to the closing of the show, man. You might remember I sing a bit of Kenny Rogers. I'm still doing that, man. And that ties in with me not getting embarrassed, man, because it just stuck as the outro song. So I'll just ease into a bit of that. And if you know the words, you're welcome to join in, man.
I'm going to let you have it this time. Do it. Let's hear it.
Righto, man. So I handed him my bottle, and he drank down my last swallow. Then he bummed a cigarette and asked me for a light. And the night got deathly quiet, and his face lost all expression. Said, if you're going to play the game, boy, you got to learn to play it right. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money When you're sitting at the table, there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Jamie, Darkside Guida.
That's good.
Thank you for coming on the show again, man. It's been a pleasure to catch up with you, man. And
absolutely. Thanks for having me on, man. It's been a good time letting somebody else host the show and just talking a little bit. That was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, always fun, man. And yeah, I reckon I'm planning to get over to the States at some stage again next year, so I might even catch up in person at some stage. And
man, I hope so.
Be good to shake your hand, man. Cheers, man.
100%.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.